All right, welcome everyone. ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Monday, the 5th of December. Good to have you aboard as we get week number 6. That's right, 6 weeks now we're getting underway. ZASLOW Show 2.0. I love you long time for being with me here. If you're just tuning in, if you just found the show for the first time, oh my God, this is a family here. I love that you're part of it now. And of course, everything began with our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. You're dealing with any kind of personal injury, I send you right to them, all right? Let them take care of you. Let them worry about the things that you don't need to worry about other than getting healthy and getting right. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, whatever accident you've been involved in, whatever injury you're dealing with, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. You call them, you're going to get a lawyer on the phone right away, and they're going to help you every step of the way. Title sponsor for everything, ZASLOW Show 2.0. I love those guys for believing in me day number one. If you're just tuning into the show for the first time, you know, it's interesting. Oh, ZASLOW, you know, come on. You've been doing this for, this is week number 6 now, ZASLOW Show 2.0. Nah, man. There's so many people who still, like, the grand majority of people definitely don't know what we're doing yet. I had someone send me a message on Instagram a couple of days ago. He saw one of my videos, youtube.com/@ZASLOWShow. And, oh, ZASLOW, I'm so glad I found you. I didn't know where you went. There are definitely so many people that are like that. It's going to take so long to get the word out there. That's really the main thing. We got to let everybody know where they are, where we are. All right, all of us. So, you out there listening, tell your friend, tell your family, tell your mother I say hello. Let everybody know how to get ZASLOW Show 2.0. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, all right? We got to continue to spread the word. All right, so, you know we're going to spend the majority of the show on the Dolphins. Man, that was frustrating. We're going to talk to Dave Hyde from the Sun Sentinel today. We'll get him on the program. You know we got our NFL rundown, of course, our full NFL rundown, Week 13, always brought to us by Brunt Insurance and Financial Services. So we'll get to that coming up. and we got a little bit on the Heat, a little bit on the Panthers. Good weekend for the Heat. Good weekend for the Panthers. We couldn't get the trifecta. We couldn't get the Dolphins. Oh, man. All right. So I hope everyone had a nice weekend. I'll give you a little rundown of mine. First of all, my weekend kind of finishes tonight, I think, because my son's soccer match, Weston Select U14 boys, final regular season game. They're 7-2-2 right now. Final regular season game, big tournament next weekend, Miami Classic, but we got to finish out the regular season right. Win tonight, and I think they clinch a playoff spot. So tonight they're playing Fort Lauderdale. It's a home game, Weston Regional Park. That's going to kind of finish out the weekend for me, if you will. I'll be recording the Heat game. We'll watch it when I get home. No spoilers. Don't anybody send me a message and bother me during my son's soccer match. So that kind of closes out the weekend tonight. But otherwise, Friday night, my wife and I, shout out to the Miami Improv. I love going there, man. Both improvs, Miami Improv and Dana Improv. I love those two spots. I really think, I think going to the Improv's the best bang for your buck. I think it's the best thing in town. I really do. It's not that expensive. Obviously, you got to get a couple drinks, which you'd be doing anyway. You can get food. We love going to the Improv. So my wife and I were at the Improv, the Miami Improv, on Friday night. We saw Michael Rappaport for the second time this year, actually. We love Michael Rappaport. He was great. The Improv always treats us really well. We had a nice little table, close enough to the front. See, I sent out a picture. For comedy shows, I don't get the people that want to be right in front. Now, we were close up and we were off to the side. Like, there's no way he was going to interact with us. You don't want to be right in front for the comedy show. Now, there's a couple of reasons why you don't. Number one, I don't want to interact with the comedian. I don't want them to ask me questions. I don't want to be involved in the show. I know some people like that. It's weird. I don't want to be involved in the show in any way, shape, or form. Number two, and this is very important. Now, when I go to comedy shows, I'm usually going to one where I know who the comedian is, and I enjoy him. I'm going to laugh. It's going to be fun. Now, I desperately hope my wife is laughing too the whole time, because we've been through this before. You guys, you know what I'm talking about. If the wife is not having a good time, then it's very difficult for us to enjoy the evening as well. Whether you're at a movie or a comedy show or a concert or a sporting event, if the wife isn't having a good time, the night is a disaster, all right? So my wife had a good time. She likes Michael Rappaport a lot also. So we had a great time. But here's the thing. You don't want to be sitting right in front of the comedian for two reasons. Number one, you don't want to be involved in the show. You don't need the back and forth. Every comedian's going to bust on people sitting in the front row. It's all fun and games, but still, I'm not interested in being part of the show. Number two, and here's a huge reason why I don't want to be right in the front. I don't want to feel an obligation to laugh. Now, I laughed the whole show because, like I said, I'm going to see a comedian that I really like. So I'm definitely laughing the whole show. But if there's a couple jokes that maybe I don't, think are hilarious, I don't want to feel this pressure to laugh. If I'm sitting there and I'm not laughing, he's right in front, I feel bad. You don't want to sit in front in comedy shows. We had a great time, though, all right? Michael Rappaport, always funny, and Miami Improv and the Doral Improv, they always treat you, boy. They treat the ZASLOWs really well. So I appreciate those guys for sure. So that's what we did on Friday. Saturday night, we had a Christmas party with the soccer team. That was fun. Was out till 1 a.m. Holy shit. I mean, how does anyone want to stay out till 1 a.m.? We were out at this Christmas, great time, but we were out at this Christmas party till 1 a.m. Oh, I mean, by 11 p.m., I want to be in my bed, no matter what I'm doing. 1 a.m., we were out. I can't do that again. I got to wait at least a full year until we're out till 1 a.m. again. But the wife was out there dancing to the booty music, so we had a great time. There you have it. That was essentially my weekend, which then, of course, culminated yesterday. Briny Irish Pub in Pompano, brinypubpompano.com. You know that's my spot. We're going there for all Dolphins games. They got live music every single night. brinypubpompano.com, the world's greatest upscale dive bar, all right? And they were packed yesterday. brinypubpompano.com. You take Atlantic Boulevard all the way to the Atlantic, all right? Boom, it's right there. Don't drive straight into the ocean, but as far as you can go, and then Briny is right there on your right. So easy to find them. And they got the NFL ticket, live music every night, great food. I love the shepherd's pie. Oh, come on. So we were at Briny yesterday for the Dolphin game. Packed, loaded, all right? People were into not just the Dolphin game, but all the games that were going on. And that game was frustrating. Very first play of the game, we all know what happened. Okay, we're going to have a track meet here. Let's go. That game was fascinating and frustrating and ballsy and jarring, considering what we've gotten used to, right? Where every time the Dolphins have the ball, I think they're going to score. They're so exciting. And yesterday was so frustrating considering what we've been used to. Like, it was... I tweeted at one point, early in the third quarter, this game is torture. It was. That game was torture because of what we've been used to. And it was confusing because what the hell is going on with Tua? Tua's obviously the big story after yesterday. The Dolphins playing what I had dubbed their biggest game in 10 weeks. Their biggest game since week 3, the game against Buffalo. And that was just week 3. Both teams were 2-0. So this was really the Dolphins' first big test since week 3. And obviously, they failed with flying colors. And the Dolphin fans should be mad. You should. Now, when I say the Dolphin fans should be mad, ZASLOW, come on. It's just one game. All right, take it easy. Take it easy. The Dolphin fans should be mad because it feels good to be mad after these losses. It means that the games are super important. It means that you're watching meaningful games for the first time in years. I'm not talking about mad where it's like, this team sucks. We've had that kind of mad for the last 20 years. You're mad because we should have had that game yesterday. It was a monster game. We're talking big-time playoff positioning. Hell, if the Dolphins won yesterday, it'd be first place in the AFC today. Home field advantage throughout the playoffs. You should be mad after that game yesterday. It feels good to be mad after these kinds of losses. It means the game's important. It's been years. I mean, okay, there are playoff spots on the line, which, they didn't make in the last couple years. But those weren't good Dolphins teams, even if the games felt big. When you're playing, that's what made the Buffalo game so great. We haven't had a game that felt big like that, 15 years. And yesterday was a big game. You were playing a really good 49ers team. And you should be mad after that game. But you should feel good that you're mad. Because it's on to the next one now. Got to win next week. Huge game next week. You can't lose 2 in a row and then go into Buffalo. Because then you're talking about a scenario of, are the playoffs in jeopardy? Not just, can we get first place in the AFC East? Can we get first place in the AFC? First place overall in the AFC, it might be off the board. If you don't beat Buffalo, that's for sure it's off the board. Like, if the Dolphins won yesterday and then won against the Chargers, first place in the AFC East wouldn't be off the board if you then lost the Buffalo game. Because Buffalo in the division, I think they're 0-2 still, right? Buffalo's record in the division stinks. The Dolphins' record in the division is fine. You got the win against the Patriots. You got a win against the Bills. Dolphins are 2-1 in the division, right? The division wouldn't necessarily be on the line, but now, because of losing yesterday, division's on the line that game. You have to win next week against the Chargers. I don't want to get too much into that today. That's really for tomorrow. We'll do all reaction today. But you can't go into Buffalo losers of 2 in a row, because then you're starting to put yourself in a position of, are we going to make the playoffs? Yesterday was a really damaging loss, and we'll get to that in a second. But you should be mad. It means that these games are huge. And it's much better than apathy. It's much better than being annoyed with the game. And it's like, we suck. No, you're mad today, and you're going to be mad tomorrow. And maybe you'll start to not be so mad on Wednesday, and then you'll begin to look forward to the Chargers game. Being mad's good, man. Means this team's good. And I got to be honest with you. I blame this loss on the Dolphins offense specifically. I know that the defense was an embarrassment yesterday. But I blame this loss on the Dolphins so much more than I give credit to the 49ers. If you're talking about the defense, and look, I'm not saying the 49ers aren't good. I think they're really good. And the Garoppolo injury sucks. I feel bad about that. Not too bad because, whatever. But the Garoppolo injury sucks, and I feel bad about that. This loss is so much more on the Dolphins for me than it is, wow, the 49ers were amazing. I know Bosa's great. Bosa had a really great game yesterday, so I'm not taking that away from him. But the 49ers defense didn't do anything to force the Dolphins to, A, drop passes, and more specifically, B, for Tua to overthrow every open receiver. That has nothing to do with the 49ers defense. 49ers defense is great. And I know going into yesterday, they hadn't given up a score in the second half to their last 4 opponents. And then Tyreek Hill, of course, took the top off the defense. That game yesterday was so much more, for me, the Dolphins losing than the 49ers winning. Yeah, it was. For me, it was so much more about the Dolphins losing that game. I blame the Dolphins for that loss so much more than I give credit for the 49ers. Tua was so bad. And look, here's a truth bomb for you. If Tua is any kind of accurate yesterday, we kicked the shit out of that team. Yeah. That game's blowout city. If Tua has a half-decent game, if Tua can hit, look, he's the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. He couldn't hit open guys. If Tua can hit open receivers yesterday, we kicked the shit out of that team. You're telling me we're not up by 2 touchdowns at halftime? If Tua's not flat out missing open receivers, that has nothing to do with the 49ers defense. I know 49ers defense is going to get a ton of praise. Nah, not for me. Bosa was great. 49ers defense definitely made plays, especially the Gesicki. Although, catch the ball with 2 hands. I don't even know if I'm going to give them credit for that. You give the coach credit, give Shanahan credit for 2 excellent challenges on that final drive. The first one, though, Sherfield, he didn't catch the ball. That's not the 49ers defense. You want to give the 49ers defense a little bit credit for the Gesicki non-catch? Okay, give more credit to Shanahan. Give blame to Gesicki. Gesicki, 2 hands, man. You got to catch that ball. And I know there was a lot of complaining about the officiating. I can't sit here. I know it was a phantom holding call in the big run. I can't sit here and complain about the officiating when the reality is, if Tua hits open receivers, we blow them out yesterday. I didn't love the officiating. I can't sit here and talk about officiating when Tua was so poor that if he was any kind of accurate, we smoked those fools. It's frustrating. Game was fascinating and frustrating and confusing. And I've never seen a coach with bigger balls than Mike McDaniel. I've never seen that before. 4th and 1 from your own 19, and you're going for it? I turn to my son, I go, holy shit, I can't believe they're going for this. Because if they don't, it was like, I don't know, it was like 7, 8 minutes left in the game, 6, 7 minutes. I said to my son, they don't pick us up, game's over. Doesn't matter, we have all the timeouts. They kick a field goal, boom, 9-point game, game's over. I can't believe they're going for this here. And then Tua, A, he could have flipped it to Ingold for an easy first down. B, he could have ran it for an easy first down. Instead, fits it into like a tight hole. Tyreek Hill. Oh my God, Tyreek Hill, that's my dog. That's your dog too. Tyreek Hill. And it's a trade that's worked for both teams. It's not like the Dolphins fleeced them. You know, Chiefs are awesome and they got the draft picks. Tyreek, I mean, it might be the best trade in Dolphins history, right? It might be the best trade in Dolphins history for Tyreek Hill. Unbelievable. But I blame, that's a Dolphins lost that game as opposed to 49ers won it. To me. Yeah. I don't know what the 49ers defense has to do with Tua. And it's not, look, the offensive line protected him yesterday. He had time to throw. Now, was he, I mean, he looked skittish, for sure. He did. I don't know if it's because they were giving him time, and maybe he knows Armstead is not out there, so he's got to rush things a little bit. The timing was off. Was he pressing because you know the game is important for Mike McDaniel going back to San Francisco? Same thing for the running backs, even Trent Sherfield, but specifically McDaniel. Is he pressing because he wants to win for his coach? He loves McDaniel. Whatever it was, Tua looked skittish out there. He didn't look comfortable. It's such a disappointing performance from him. And this game, to me, it felt very similar to the Minnesota game. That Tua didn't play that game. But it felt very similar to the Minnesota game where, man, we have no business winning this game, and it feels like we're about to drive to win it, right? When Waddle, who had the worst game of his career, Waddle fumbled, the Dolphins were moving the ball, Minnesota recovers, game over. This game felt very similar to that, where we have no business winning this game. 23-17, convert the 4th down to Hill. Gesicki, they call it a catch. Like, we have no business winning this game, and Tua's about, this is how you make up for the poor game. This is what an MVP does, right? You have a terrible game, but with the game on the line, drive all the way down the field. I think it would have been like 90 yards, right? Yeah, they started on the 10. Drive all the way down the field, game-winning touchdown. That's an MVP. That's an MVP drive. That's Tua legacy drive right there. It felt very like the Minnesota game. No business winning it, and now we're driving. It feels like we're going to wind up pulling it out. Had it taken away from us. I don't have a problem with the call with the Gesicki non-catch. I'm watching the replay. Again, we were at Briny Pub yesterday watching it, and I'm like, I have no idea what they're going to call here. I think they're going to overturn it, but, you know, he's got it pinned against his helmet. Does that count as a catch? I don't know what a catch is half the time. I got no problem with them overturning it because Gesicki, he needs to catch the ball with 2 hands. That's all there is to it. Catch the ball with 2 hands. Drive continues. Maybe the Dolphins win that game. But, again, for me, 2 overriding points for me yesterday. You should be mad, but being mad's a good thing. Means it's important. And 2, I think the Dolphins blew that game as opposed to the 49ers winning it. Especially when you consider Garoppolo gets hurt. We're all thinking the same thing. Oh, man, we're going to kick the shit out of this team now. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. Oh, come on, they're not going to be able to score. We're going to force him into a bunch of mistakes. How does the defense not take advantage of that? Like, for me, it was so much more on the Dolphins. Dolphins blame than 49ers credit. If Tua has a halfway accurate game yesterday, we kick the shit out of that team. Those are my two big takeaways. I'm angry, but it's good to be angry. It feels good to be angry. And I blame the Dolphins so much more than I credit the 49ers yesterday. And it's a damaging loss because you look at the standings, you had a legit chance for home field advantage throughout the postseason if you pull that game out. The Dolphins would be sitting 9-3, first place in the AFC, home field throughout. Now, you got 5 games left. But if the Dolphins won that game yesterday, you feel so good going into the Chargers game. I still feel good going into the Chargers game next week. But now the Dolphins, they would have been first place in the AFC. Now they're 6th. That's a damaging loss yesterday. 6th. And the division is looking it's looking like a bit of a long shot now. Because you have to win this game against the Chargers. And then you're going to Buffalo. So this is proven to be a super difficult stretch now. After yesterday's super damaging loss, had a legit chance for home field advantage throughout the postseason if you pull that game out. And unfortunately, Tua is likely out of the MVP conversation now. I don't think you could have that game yesterday. It was a huge game. I mean, as a major spotlight on you, you got all kinds of ammunition. We talked about it yesterday with Canty and Carlin, ESPN Radio. They're two of the guys. You got people who are out there waiting for Tua to fall flat, waiting for the Dolphins to fall flat, and it happened yesterday, essentially. And now, like, the national narrative on the Dolphins, it's going to change now, or, like, reinforce some opinions. If you're down here, you know this doesn't change anything. I think if you're down here, you're still really confident going into next week against the Chargers. I sure as hell am. If anything, get the Tua shit game out of the way, and I think they're going to be awesome this week. By the way, Tua after the game taking all the blame. He wasn't good enough. Hey, Zach Wilson, take notes. Tua yesterday, statistically, I mean, he's only the second quarterback this year against the Niners to throw for over 250 yards. The other one is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Tua's numbers yesterday, we know they weren't good, but Tua's numbers yesterday, it's not like he was horrendous if you just look at the box. Tua yesterday finished 18 for 33, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Zach Wilson, after that game a few weeks ago, he had like, I don't know, what he had, like 70 yards? Takes no blame after the game. Tua yesterday against the 49ers, who have not given up any points in the second half their last 5 weeks before yesterday. Only one quarterback has had over 250 yards passing against them, and that's Patrick Mahomes. Or maybe it was passing against them in a loss, whatever it is. Go check out Emmanuel Acho. He had the cool stat out there. That's his thing, not mine. Tua yesterday, 295, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Still comes out, takes all the blame. And rightfully so. I mean, he deserves all, if not most, of the blame. That's how you do it. When you're the quarterback, you got to come out and take the blame. You have to. Zach Wilson takes none of it. Oh, it's such a bad look. That's such a bad look. I don't even know what to say about this Dolphin defense. I really don't. Carved up by Mr. Irrelevant? That is such a joke. I mean, Dolphins got a bunch of sacks yesterday. I don't know the final number. But, I mean, they couldn't get to him enough. And then receivers, man, just wide open. The penalties. Getting gashed by this, what's his name again? Brock Purdy? Who the F cares? Just getting carved up by the third string quarterback. Like, Garoppolo goes down. Oh, nice. We're gonna smoke these fools now. First play of the game was so exciting. Oh, my God. So exciting. Frustrating. But you know what? Like the Miami Heat right now, and we'll get to them. But the Miami Heat right now, like, they're going to benefit, you hope, from what they've gone through so far this season. Younger guys are having to play, getting good experience, good minutes, going through a little bit of hurt. It'll all, like, you can wind up growing from that kind of stuff. I'm hoping that it's a similar thing with the Dolphins right now, where playoff games in January are going to look a lot closer to that game yesterday than the games the Dolphins have been winning. So yesterday is a teachable game. Games are going to be played like yesterday's game was, as opposed to all the run and gun that the Dolphins have been able to do against teams like Houston and Detroit and Cleveland. Postseason games are a lot more like yesterday. So hopefully it's a teachable game and you wind up taking it out of the Chargers Sunday Night Football in 6 days. But again, I'm mad. You should be mad. But the mad is good, man. So much better than apathy. It's so much better than, all right, it's not that big a deal. They lost. Team stinks. No, let it hurt, man. Let it hurt right inside your stomach. Got that pit in your stomach. You're upset now. Good. Let it hurt. It's a much better feeling than losing games and it just doesn't matter. So, a lot happened yesterday. Now, week 13 of the NFL finishes up tonight. You got Bucks and Saints. Shit game. Bucks are 5-6 right now. They got a home playoff game. We're gonna do that thing again this year, right? Where you got the under 500 division winner hosting a playoff game, where the Bucks are 5-6, and you got Dallas right now has 9 wins, and they're gonna be on the road. We're gonna do that thing, right? Doesn't happen very often, but everybody gets the panties in a wad. They get all upset. It was a lot of action. Yesterday. And you're probably saying to yourself, Zaslow, I got to get caught up. Let's get to our Week 13 NFL rundown. That's right. Let's do it. A ton of games yesterday in the NFL. We got to make sure everybody's up to speed. You know what's what. Our NFL rundown every Monday is brought to us by our friends at Brunt Insurance. That's right. Brunt Insurance and Financial Services from Pensacola to the Keys and beyond. Brunt Insurance and Financial Services delivers comprehensive insurance and financial solutions tailored to your needs. Since 2013, they specialize in home, auto, life insurance, a whole lot more. You can find Brunt Insurance online, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. BruntInsurance.com, 954-589-2204. That's 954-589-2204. You need home insurance. You need car insurance. Look, the market's confusing. You can't just go onto Google and put home insurance. You got to know what to do, all right? The market's confusing out there. Let Brunt Insurance sort it all out for you. Fully licensed staff. They know the area. BruntInsurance.com. At Brunt Insurance on social media. 954-589-2204. If you're looking for affordable care, it offers the best coverage for your automobile, motorcycle, even your boat. Brunt Insurance is the way to go. And when it comes to your home, it could be renters or condo insurance, your options. There's so many out there. Don't worry. Brunt Insurance specializes in making the confusing crystal clear with their fully licensed team. Again, BruntInsurance.com, 954-589-2204. I've been a customer for about 10 years now, all right? It's good enough for the ZASLOW family. It's definitely good enough for you. Brunt Insurance and Financial Services, BruntInsurance.com. Let's get to it here. First up, how about the Steelers and the Falcons? The Steelers yesterday, a 19-16 win. I don't know, maybe Tomlin's, record of never being under 500. It could still be in play. They win yesterday. They're 5-7 now. In order to wind up finishing with a winning record, he's got to go 4 of the last 5. That's going to be tough, obviously. Kenny Pickett, 16-28. 197 yards. The Falcons dropped to 5-8. And inexplicably, if Tampa Bay loses tonight, Falcons are still in the chase of the division. The Ravens, this game was a vomit. The Ravens beat the Broncos 10-9. They are now 8-4. Lamar Jackson, he's days to weeks. He hurt his knee. And the coach after the game says he's days to weeks. Day to day, week to week. No. Days to weeks. I don't know what that means. I do know that the Broncos dropped to 3-9. They're as disappointing a team ever. Russell Wilson, 17-22 for 189 yards. The Ravens at 8-4 are third in the AFC, but obviously no Lamar Jackson. You don't get to play the Broncos every week. That's a secret I just let you in on. So the Ravens, they're in trouble. I think the Ravens are kind of fugazi. I got to be honest with you. The Packers, this game, also a game that no one is interested in. The Packers beat the Bears 28-19. I guess they're still technically in it. So Aaron Rodgers is going to continue to play. The Packers are 5-8 now. The Bears 3-10. Rodgers 18-31, 182 yards. Justin Fields 20-25, 254, 2 interceptions. He did have 71 yards rushing and I think it was a 61-yard rushing touchdown. The Detroit Lions and Man Campbell, a respectable team. They're now 5-7 after a 40-14 win over the Jaguars, who dropped to 4-8. Jared Goff, 31-41, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns. Maybe Goff doesn't suck. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 11 catches, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. There you have it. The Browns. This was a game that had a lot of juice to it, even though it's 2 terrible teams. The Browns, a 27-14 win over the Houston Texans. The Browns are 5-7. The Texans dropped to 1-10-1. The story, of course, was Deshaun Watson making his return and debut with the Cleveland Browns. Watson was terrible. He looked really rusty, apparently. 12 for 22, 131 yards, and an interception. And let me just say this. And I've been saying this for a while now, can we finally, forever, put an end to any kind of conversation about Colin Kaepernick? Can we stop the Colin Kaepernick stuff? Because Deshaun Watson is light years better than Colin Kaepernick. Deshaun Watson has been out the last year and a half, year and 3/4, whatever you want to call it. And he looked like that. Rusty as hell. Did not look good. Colin Kaepernick can't hold Deshaun Watson's jock and hasn't played football in like 6 years. What do you think Colin Kaepernick would look like if he returned to the National Football League when that's what Deshaun Watson looked like after not playing for a year and a half? It's enough with Kaepernick. You can't come into the National Football League and play meaningful games at that position and have any kind of success you haven't played in 6 years. Watson did not look good yesterday, and he's pretty awesome. All right, I had to get that off my chest. Enough with Kaepernick. The Vikings, they hang on with a 27-22 win over the New York Jets. They are now 10-2. The Jets dropped to 7-5. Dalvin Cook, 20 rushes, 86 yards, and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson, 7 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. The Jets dropped to 7-5. They currently hang on to the final wild card spot right now. The Minnesota Vikings, they're a game back. They're second place in the NFC. The Giants, this game, it's so stupid. The Giants and Commanders tied. A tie. 20-20. The Giants are now 7-4-1. The Commanders are 7-5-1. No one was happy after this game. The Giants missed a 58-yard field goal with no time left that would have won it. No one's happy. You prepare the whole week. You bust your ass for 70 minutes with the 10 extra minutes in overtime. And nobody wins. You got to find a way to have a winner. Do what college does. Get the ball on the 20-yard line, 25, whatever cockamamie rules it is that college has. You can't prepare the whole week. And you bust your ass. You got guys who are putting their lives on the line, essentially. Tie. I hate it, man. Daniel Jones, 25 for 31, 200 yards and a touchdown. 12 rushes, 71 yards. Saquon Barkley had 18 rushes for 63 yards and a touchdown. The Giants right now, they are 6th. They have the second wild card spot at 7-4-1. The Commanders are somewhere on the outside looking in there. The Eagles, a 35-10 win over the Titans. They're 11-1, first place in the NFC. Titans dropped to 7-5. They still lead the division. They are 4th in the AFC. Jalen Hurts, I think, is the MVP of the league. 29 for 39, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a big-time revenge game for A.J. Brown. The Titans didn't want to pay him. He said, okay, 8 catches, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. Okay, the Eagles kicked the crap out of the Titans. The Seahawks, a game that they desperately needed. They beat the Rams 27-23. They improved to 7-5. They currently have the 7th spot in the NFC. The Rams 3-9, big-time Super Bowl hangover. Geno Smith, 28 for 39, 367 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. DK Metcalf, 8 catches for 127 yards and a touchdown. Maybe the game of the day yesterday. The Bengals own the Chiefs. Joe Burrow is Patrick Mahomes' daddy. He's now 3-0 against Mahomes, including winning the AFC Championship last year after yesterday's 27-24 win. The Bengals are 8-4. The Chiefs dropped to 9-3. The Bengals, they're 5th in the AFC. They're right behind Baltimore. I guess they don't own the tiebreak right now, but the Bengals are coming. They are a-coming. Kansas City, they are now 2nd in the AFC at 9-3. Buffalo and them are tied, but Buffalo right now is the tiebreaker, so they are 1st place. You had Joe Burrow, 25 for 31, 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, 46 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, 16-27, 223 yards and a touchdown. He also had a touchdown on the ground himself. That's probably the bet. That's the new Manning Brady, right? Burrow, Mahomes, it's good shit. The Raiders, don't look now. They're staying alive. 27-20 win over the Chargers. The Raiders are now 5-7. The Chargers 6-6. They're on the outside looking in. Jacobs, 26 carries, 144 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Adams, 8 catches, 177 and 2 touchdowns. Justin Herbert was 28 for 47. He had 335 yards and a touchdown. And finally, Sunday Night Football. I shut it off after the 3rd quarter and it was 21-19 Cowboys. The Cowboys won 54-19. They're now 9-3. The Colts are 4-8-1. Jeff Saturday, 1-3 as the head coach. Dak Prescott, 20 for 30, 170 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. Tony Pollard, 12 carries, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Cowboys, they are 5th in the NFC. They have the first wildcard spot. They are 9-3. And that right there is your Week 13 NFL rundown, brought to us by Brunt Insurance and Financial Services. Hit them up on social media at Brunt Insurance, bruntinsurance.com. I'm a customer. I've been a customer and have my homeowner's insurance with them for over 10 years now. 954-589-2204. You tell Greg that ZASLOW says what's up. There you have it. And that right there is our Week 13 NFL rundown.